Hello, welcome to Bermingham Cameras Online. I'm Brian Whelan here today and very happy to be joined by Carol from Panasonic UK. Now Carol is the Panasonic Pro Imaging Specialist, so a very fancy title, and she has been bamboozling us all morning with everything that is great about the new Panasonic Lumix S1H. Now, for anybody who doesn't know what the S1H is, it's the latest addition to the full frame Lumix S range, and is the one that's predominantly aimed at videographers. Now, Carol, if you wouldn't mind sharing with everybody who's watching here today everything about this camera.
So I probably won't do the full PowerPoint.
Okay, right.
Because we genuinely would be here till midnight.
We don't have 2 hours.
No. So I'm gonna just show you. I'm just going to talk through and show you some of the absolute key things about this camera that makes it different from the others in the S range, but also how this benefits for videographers.
Okay.
So first things first, it's part of the S series range, and the S series range is our full frame cameras. But this one essentially is a full frame GH5S, and it's aimed at the two distinct markets: the filmmaker market, who may be working in a multi-camera environment, but also the high-end videographer who may be shooting weddings, corporate, all kinds of everyday, everything from advertising. So it can be used as a one-off camera on its own, either handheld or in a gimbal, or in a rigged up with a £25,000 lens on it, and it will work in those environments. Because of that, we had to make it super reliable. So key things that are different about this camera over the S1 and S1R. In particular, straight away, this is a bigger camera. And the reason, and it's really difficult to show on here, but the reason is it has a proper fan. And that proper fan allows us to cool the camera enough to record full 6K, full width footage in an unlimited format. And that means that we've got 10-bit 6K unlimited in the camera. And that means that we can record a wide variety of things and downsize that footage for 4K output, for instance. But also we've got full cinema 4K. And it's all unlimited recording, and truly unlimited. We have dual SD cards. Now this is again different from the S1 and the S1R, which have an XQD card and an SD card. But videographers prefer SD cards, and this means that we can swap cards out while recording and just keep swapping them around. It also uses the same battery grip as the S1, which means that we can swap around the batteries while recording again. It has a very clever tilt swivel screen. Now people will be now going, yes, it's a tilt swivel screen. Now the S1 and the S1R have a fantastic screen for stills photographers. But for videographers, they often want to do an interview direct to camera and be able to see. Now the problem is, standard-wise, it still blocks the HDMI cables, and this is a no-no. So our engineers came up with a very nifty solution, which is to actually bring out the cable from the side, and now we can actually rotate it and not interfere.
This is the first camera of any make, shape or brand.
As far as I know, this is the first one to do it this way. And it means that as a stills photographer, I can use it like this. As a videographer, I can look down the line like this. And it's really such a clever solution to a problem that we've had for many years with these cameras. We've also, been able to put in a much more comprehensive LCD screen, and that's again because it's deeper. And finally, on top of all of that, we also have internal stabilization. And it's 6 stops of stabilization, regardless of the lens. Sigma have just announced their MC31 adapter, which is for cinema lenses. And that means we can stabilize cinema lenses on this camera and just go with it. That means that you've got a really complete package for filmmakers, for videographers, but internally, it's also the S1. So for stills photographers or for videographers who need to do behind the scenes stills work, you've got the full capability of the S1 stills camera as well.
I think that's important,
Yeah.
because you were showing it to us earlier on,
Yeah.
and it is a concern some people may have,
Yeah.
that when they hear that the camera is aimed at videographers,
Yeah.
that the still side of things
Yes.
will suffer, or there will be
Yes.
sacrifices made.
Yes, yes.
But as you say, it's pretty much the same
Yeah.
as an S1 on the inside
Yes.
for stills photography.
Yes.
So that is important as well.
And it does mean that videographers have a real choice, whereas in our GH5S we had to make some compromises on the stills to allow it to do the low light. So,
And just as well as it being an S1 on the inside
Yeah.
for stills, even though the body is physically slightly bigger,
Yeah.
the look and feel is pretty much the same as the S1 and the S1R. So if
Absolutely.
somebody is familiar with the
Yes.
S1 or has
Yes.
an S1
Yes.
already, they will be fully au fait with the layout and where the buttons are and all the
totally.
functions. So
Menus
nothing changes.
are very similar. There's some slight nuances, but menus are very similar. And the viewfinder is exactly the same. This incredible viewfinder. So if you are, as a video shooter, needing to work in very bright lights, you can use the viewfinder, and you've got that as well. So
I'll have to say, we were impressed.
Yeah.
It kind of completes the trinity
It
of,
does.
You've got your
Yes.
high megapixel stills,
Yes.
you've got your stills all round, and now
Yes.
you've got your video camera
yes,
here as well.
yes.
So
And in directly mirroring what we do with the G series as well. So there's a real correlation between those two systems now. So.
okay, well, Carol, thank you very much for that.
No probs.
I'm sure everybody watching will have found it very informative. And if you do have any more questions, you can, of course, come into the store, or you can call us, or you can email us, and we'll be happy to help after all of Carol's training today.